Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show this Thursday, January 29th, 2015. We're going to go to your calls right now. I'm going to kind of open this up to pretty much any subject for the next half hour or so. When Rosa Corey joins us in the next hour, I'm going to talk to her a little bit about, we're going to talk about Agenda 21, about how it is playing out here in Texas and San Francisco, but of course it is a worldwide issue. It is something that comes from the UN. It's hiding, as she points out in her book, Behind the Green Mask. It's hiding behind a mask of sustainability, of environmentalism. It's sold as, now these other aspects, the transportation parts, being sold as convenient. Don't worry, you won't have to drive your car in your daily commute each day, and we're not going to have any, you're not going to have any problems finding a parking space because these government-controlled, computer-driven cars are going to do all that for you. But of course, they're going to limit when, where, how you can get around. And we're going to be talking to her about that in the next hour. And I want to take some of your calls in that hour about Agenda 21. If you've seen some of these phony consensus meetings that are being proposed by stakeholders and policymakers, and they would like for you and the community to come meet with them and give them your input about this plan, that they already know exactly what they're going to do. They're just trying to use it as a control device. It's something she talks about and exposes in her book. So if you've had an experience like that or want to make comments about Agenda 21, then we'll take your calls in the next hour. Right now, we're going to just kind of open it up for general comments. Let's go to Patrick in Florida. Patrick, you want to talk about the TSA travel restrictions we were just talking about?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. Yeah, I'm escaping the cold from Michigan. I'm down here in Florida. And I went to buy a motorcycle, and we negotiated the price, and we sat down and we're looking at the paperwork, and there was a $199, admin fee. And I said, what's in that? And the guy said, well, $40 of it is what I have to pay to the TSA to see if you're on the no-fly list. And he said that he had a computer program where you would, enter in my information, come back, yes.
Well, you're starting to break up. You had to pay a fee to the TSA to see if you're on a no-fly list before you could get a motorcycle?
That's correct. It was buried in his administration fee, but he broke down it. He said it was $40 of the $199 that I was going to pay to get the motorcycle that he had to, before he could sell it, see if I was on the no-fly list. So he had a computer program.
Yeah.
It would say yes or no. And then he said if it flashed red, no, that he was instructed to call the sheriff and make up an excuse to detain the individual until such time as the sheriff would get there and arrest him.
This is just beyond belief. The fact that you would have to get the TSA's approval before you can buy a motorcycle. And of course, we know they put a lot of innocent people on the TSA no-fly list. Right after I started here back in 2012, fall of 2012, we had a guy who was flying on a military plane. His wife was in the military. He was going to meet her in Japan. They stranded him in Hawaii, saying that they discovered once he got to Hawaii that he was on a no-fly list. And guess what? You get to Hawaii, you can't get anywhere if you are on a no-fly list. You can wait around and try to get a slow boat or something like that to get out of there. But this is also a guy who had been vetted by the TSA's own program to work as a transportation worker. He had been vetted by them. He had been vetted by the FBI in terms of firearms licenses somehow, and they would never give him an explanation. Of course, they never do. They never say why you're on a TSA list, no-fly list, and they won't take you off of it. But this also illustrates, Patrick, what we've been saying, and that is that the TSA is not about airplanes. It is about total control of your travel and your movement.
Well, it gets better. Are you ready for the second part?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, what'd they do?
Yeah, he said, so we were talking about how I was going to pay for it, and, he was going to put a surcharge if I used a credit card, anyways, he said that if I paid in cash more than $2,500, that was also reportable to TSA, and that the $10,000 deal is just with the IRS, but there's a $2,500 cash reporting requirement with the TSA.
Yeah, if you have cash, you're a criminal, because that takes you out of their surveillance grid. Anybody that wants to get out of the surveillance grid is automatically a criminal. That's what's really, really dangerous about this. Thank you so much, Patrick. Well, that is really amazing. So what he's saying is that he had to pay a fee to the TSA, and they were going to vet to see if he was on the no-fly list before he could purchase a motorcycle, and if he was on the no-fly list, they had to stall him so the sheriff could get there. And of course, the TSA wants to know if you're buying anything with $2,500 of cash or less. Is this a free country, or have we already descended into tyranny that is beyond what we can believe? And yet, most people don't even realize this. I didn't know that the TSA was doing this for people buying vehicles.
In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.